Welcome to the August 11th, 2022 Town of Lake Luzerne Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Would you all please rise and recite the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the agenda this evening, we have one area variance application, approval of minutes, and new and old business.
We'll do the roll call.
Please,
Matt,
present.
Jamie, Annie,
Present.
Rail is absent. Burgess,
Present.
Mike.
Present.
You.
Okay, let us begin. Item number 1 on the agenda, review 2022 AV-5 variance application, Adam Smile and Megan Stevenson, parcel 274.1-69-6, 76 Gailey Hill Road, road front setback and height variance request. Mr. Smile, would you please come up to the table? Take a seat. Bring that microphone close to you. Okay. So, tell me about your variance application.
Yeah, I'm looking to put a garage on my property. My parcel is a very difficult parcel to build on due to the topography. Our driveway is roughly a 35 to 45 degree pitch on both sides. So to do any sort of excavation to get it to a 75-foot setback, we had estimates from Ruben Ellsworth from Ellsworth Excavating that they'd have to take roughly 50 dump trucks of earth away to get it to a flat spot. But then he also advised if we did that, we'd have water damages coming off the mountain behind our house. If we do roughly a 30-foot setback, the grade in this particular spot that we're looking to do it doesn't really start going up until nearly like the back of the garage where we're proposing to put it. Another issue we have currently is if we do go up higher to get the 75-foot setback, the angle that we'll have to grade it down to put in a driveway is pretty dangerous, especially in the winter. We have a paved driveway. We slide down it every single winter. It's black ice. And then on the other side of Gailey Hill Road is a cliff. It goes down at least 15-20 feet. So if we go sliding, it's pretty dangerous over there. So the purpose of this is to get it to a more level area. And that's pretty much the only way we can do it, given the grades.
Thank
As far as the variance setback for the height, the only reason I want to go a little bit higher, 18 feet is not quite high enough if you want to put in oversized garage doors, because I run a construction company, so I have a construction trailer. It measures about 10 feet, so I would have to put roughly a 12-foot door to get it inside. 12 feet, add your header and any roofing materials. By the time you get to 18 feet, you're only at maybe a 3 pitch, and then it'll just build up with snow all winter. So we'd like to go with more of a 7-8 pitch, which will bring us probably just under 25 feet roughly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Smile before we begin?
Just real quick, I'm looking at, is that the correct size of the garage, 40 by 35?
Roughly. We may go a little bit smaller. But
So do you have any drawings or anything that you could submit for this application of the garage?
I submitted a small elevation. It's gonna have to be altered, but I wasn't gonna get an architect to draw up plans because I know I have to get an architect since it'll be over 600 square feet and the fees involved in that without getting approved.
Because you it's kind of important to know the size of the garage and.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with that
Variables.
side for now, because I'm trying to do a double door, like a 16-foot double door and then a single. So that's pretty much the size I would need. It won't go bigger. That's for certain.
Anyone else? Then let us review the application. Karen has the seeker.
You should have the seeker in your packet. I have received and he's already done an APA jurisdictional inquiry. It's non-jurisdictional. We've received that back already. Your application and the EAF should be in your packet.
I understand, Mr. Smile, tonight we're just reviewing your application for completeness. We are not taking any action on the application. I have, and I've spoken to Karen about this, but I have reviewed your seeker. And under, just for your information, the total acreage to be disturbed is the same size as the footprint of the building you're proposing. I think it's probably physically impossible to build that size building without disturbing a larger area than the footprint of the building. So I just want to mention that.
Just for walking around it or
Excavating around it, yes.
Mm.
How big an area are you physically going to disturb? Because it's going to be bigger than the square footage of the building you're proposing.
yeah, I was only planning to put a 4-foot wide sidewalk around it.
I'm talking about the disturbance of the soil for the excavation and building process.
Yeah, I would have to ask an excavator how much that would, depending on, I guess, the size of the machine he would bring in. I guess I would have to ask him. On the left side, it's my driveway, so there would be no, and it's paved already, so there would be no soil disturbed. I don't know the answer to that. I would have to ask an excavator roughly how wide his machine is and how much
That's
space.
why it's kind of key, like, what Matt's saying too, kind of goes hand in hand with the size of the garage too, because I mean, you said you're in construction, so they basically, typically, if you talk to either your builder or that, it's like, if your garage is gonna be 35 or 40 feet wide, you're gonna need close to, if you want to have it dug out and have to do something with dirt, it's because you're gonna need frost walls and everything else too. You'd have to go probably almost 10 and 10 on the sides to,
That's probably how
accomplish
wide a
that.
machine is at least anyway, so.
you want to get a machinery
Yeah.
around it and whatnot, and then for construction building and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's why it'd be very helpful that if we knew the exact size of what you're proposing, because right now it's very gray, it's gonna be about that, maybe no bigger than that, and so even if you're looking for a certain variance, it's gonna be helpful to say, it's gonna be X high, not, somewhere around 25 feet, so we need to, it would be helpful if we have a hard number in here.
Again, we are reviewing this application for completeness.
Right,
As Jamie points out, it would be very helpful to have drawings of the structure, especially when you're requesting a height variance.
And we're not looking for, stamped architectural drawings. I mean, it's something just, if you figure out what size exactly you want need, I mean, most people can commonly do it on a piece of graph paper, you kind of rattled off a bunch of different roof pitches and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
You can count up the squares and pretty much, and just, it would be helpful if this proceeds forward to that for,
okay, yeah, I
more
was actually gonna
information
do
we
it
have.
myself, and then once I heard that if it's over 600 square feet, I would have to get it stamped and everything, so that's why I just haven't done that yet,
Mhm.
but I can certainly draw that up.
Yeah, they're not really looking for the full construction
No,
plans. It's
no.
just they want that height.
size and height.
Reference to referral to county planning is not required. There is an APA letter in the file, no permit required from the APA. Property address 76 Gailey Hill Road, Lake Luzerne. Tax map identification number 274-1-69.6. Adam Smiley and Megan Stevenson, same address. Requesting relief from chapter 5, dimensional requirements, article 6. General regulations, accessory building and uses, A5 max height 18 feet. And also front yard setback 75 feet. Residential property purchased in 2017 by the applicants. Description of the proposed action. like to build a garage on our property. Our property is very steep grade, making it impossible to build if we have to comply with the 75-foot setback rule. We'd like to request permission to build with a 30-foot setback. There are multiple houses and garages built on our street that do not comply with the 75-foot setback rule. We would like to also to apply for a height variance. Mr. Smile, what is that height variance?
25 feet I was requesting.
Do you have any objection to my amending your application to state 25 feet?
No.
Thank you. Variance standards. Question number 1, describe how the requested variance will not alter the character of the larger neighborhood or impact most adjacent properties. Multiple houses on the street do not comply with the 75-foot rule. I have no neighbors within 500 feet of my house. The garage will be built to match our home in a tasteful way. A height variance will not impact. And see the additional page. There are no alternatives in order to have 20 oversized doors unless I install a flat roof, which won't work due to the snow load. I will start. Questions answered.
Yes, asked and answered.
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 Question number 2, describe what alternatives have been explored to achieve a solution other than a variance. Had a well-known local excavator assess our property, and he agrees that there are no other locations where the structure can go due to the grade of the property. Through an Ellsworth excavating. See additional page. I do not see anything on the additional page regarding Ellsworth excavating. Is that something that's been?
No, I think what he meant was he addressed the height variance issue in that number 2 question.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Questions answered.
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 Agreed, answered.
Answered.
Question number 3, explain whether this requested variance is substantial. Although the relief requested is more than half, 30-foot setback is still significant, so not too substantial under these circumstances. Mr. Smile, are there words missing there?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess I would need a little bit more clarification. What is being asked?
Well, the statement is, although just the question is answered as far as I'm concerned. However, when the question asked is this substantial, the relief requested is more than half, comma, 30-foot setback is still significant, so not too substantial under these circumstances. I'm not clear what you're saying.
I was just basically saying that, essentially, 75 foot is the rule, and I'm still requesting 30 feet as opposed to something closer to the road.
I think if he's saying, Matt, kind of break up the way he said it. It says explain whether this request variance is substantial. That's the question. Although the relief request is more than half, so he's agreeing that it's more than a 50% variance requested. Setback is still significant. So I think he's agreeing that it is substantial. Try not to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to read this.
No, you're right.
So not too substantial under the circumstances, meaning that he doesn't think it's too substantial due to the grade of the property. Is that what you're trying to say, Mr.
That's
Swan?
correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Sorry,
should
that
we
wasn't
add
clear.
due to the circumstances of the grade of the property?
Well, I think this is answered adequate for right now, and if it
Yeah.
does.
No, I agree with
further,
that.
we can elaborate
Okay.
on it.
That's how I took it too.
Right.
Okay,
Answered.
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 That answers the setback variance, but how is it substantial for the second thing he's asking, 18 feet to 25? Should that be noted in there?
You're correct, because it is two.
He's asking for
Asking for two
two
variants.
variances on one application. Or one could be approved and not the other, vice versa. So should he mention About them both on number three?
He should, Burgess, you're 100% correct.
And that's less well, that's for him to answer. That's less substantial to me, the 1825.
Would you like to amend this application?
I mean, if that's necessary, I guess I didn't address that because I know this is not the APA, but I was looking at the APA paperwork and they said under 40 feet.
Yeah.
From their perspective was kind of a non-issue, so that's maybe why
No, this is the town of Lake Luzerne
I agree.
and the height
So-
is 18 feet. So
okay, so I can amend that, yes,
would you like to do that now?
sure.
Something specific you would like to state? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I would just like to request the additional 7 feet. Just to really fit my overhead doors.
Just in this instance, in addition, a 7-foot variance for the height. Due to your circumstances, or
Yeah, I don't know how to word that exactly.
I know we can't tell you how to word it.
Right.
The question is whether the variance is substantial, so you need to address if you feel the 25 feet is substantial or not. That's what you need to address.
In my opinion, I don't think it's substantial. You know, if there was somebody behind me, if I was blocking a view of somebody else, a neighbor, it would probably be considered substantial, but there's nobody or nothing behind me. So, yeah, I'm not sure how that would impact anybody, actually.
All right, so.
Are you satisfied with 25-foot height request is not substantial?
Yes.
Did you get that, Karen?
Yeah,
Questions answered.
Questions answered now.
Answered.
I agree.
Questions answered.
Question number 4, describe how the requested variance will not have an adverse impact on physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood. There'll be no water or sewer in the structure. There'll be no floor drains and concrete floor. A few trees will have to be removed to clear the space. See the additional page. Says there's no physical or environmental impact. Questions answered.
Questions answered.
Questions answered.
Questions answered.
Questions answered.
Question number 5, describe the request, how the requested variance is not a self-created difficulty. The need for variance is not self-created, but as a result of the steep topography of the lot and the surrounding area. The height request is necessary to store equipment for my business. Questions answered.
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 Questions answered.
Not going to be going over the seeker at this point in time. It is in the application. Does anyone else have any question?
I have a couple of questions, if you could.
Certainly.
Mr. Smile, if this board does accept this application, would you have any problems as a condition with this application? We want to provide roughly to scale what your intentions are with building for this?
No objections to that.
And also, do you think for the ease of the board, if this does pass, since it is a very wooded area and whatnot, if you could just basically, I think for the ease of the board to see where you want to locate this garage, just simply roughly, you don't have to go right down to the inch, roughly place 4 stakes in the ground with a flag on them or a piece of tape or something, so we don't have to go mowing, walking through all over the place to get the idea, so we can get a better feel for that this proposed garage would be.
Sure, no problem. When would that take place? Just so I know when to put the stakes out.
Well, basically, if this does pass tonight, so the board members have from hypothetically from tomorrow to the end of the, to anytime after the weekend.
Okay.
That, just something that would happen, give you the weekend to do that, so we could at least look at it and give it a concerned and a realistic evaluation.
Sure, so I can definitely put the spikes in. As far as the drawing that you had requested, when would that? need
I
to be
think we just can
submitted?
talk to Karen and talk to the rest of the board too, as long as it's something we get a couple weeks before. If this goes through before our next meeting, everyone has a chance to look at, that seems fair
Yeah.
enough, just so we understand it.
with that.
I can provide it to you by email. Okay,
Oh. Yeah, you can just straighten that out with Karen.
Sure,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any questions?
Questions?
Burgess,
No, thank you.
Mike,
No, I'm good.
motion to accept application as modified.
Updated. I second that. With the conditions that I discussed.
Correct.
Please.
That is the as modified.
Okay, well, we modified these answers too.
Okay, sorry. Mike?
Discussion.
Yeah, any discussion?
No.
No.
Okay. Mike,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
all in favor, pass.
Make a motion to establish a public hearing on this variance application for September 8th at 7:05 PM.
A second.
Mike,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
all in favor.
Okay, Mr. Smile, your next step is to talk to Karen. Your application has been accepted. Public hearing will be on September 8th here, 7:05.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
You get me those elevation drawings and the footprint 2 weeks before the next meeting, by 2 weeks before, so I can get it out to them,
Sure,
okay?
all right.
And
Thank
they
you.
probably all will be coming up at your property at one time or another. To look at the site.
Okay. I'll flag it out with some orange ribbon.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You
Good night.
too. Item number 2 on the agenda, approval of minutes of the July 14th, 2022 meeting. I know Karen sent these out. Has everyone had a chance to review them?
Yes.
Anyone have any questions?
No, I'm good.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Burgess, you have to abstain. Pass.
Under the category of new and old business, our last zoning board of appeals meeting was a workshop on short-term rentals. That information that you provided, which I consolidated back out, that was presented by Karen in its entirety to the town board. Where it goes from here, I don't know. I was asked one question as to why I felt that there should not be any grandfathering. And I stated that it needs to be fair and equitable, and these are safety issues and they need to apply across the board. I believe the town is still leaning towards adopting something based on the Warrensburg short-term rental regulations right now. The town will be, I guess it's some category of new business. The town board is having another workshop this coming Monday night at 7 PM. Under the category of new business related to the old business, in your packet, you will find a large amount of reading material on short-term rentals provided by Barb Veneris and Mr. Lorenco. Many of these issues were discussed at the town board meeting. I don't think there's anything really new in here, except for maybe that the newspaper article from the Lake George Mirror question. Most of this is court cases. I guess bolstering Mr. Barenko's position that short-term rentals are businesses and should be handled as such, and as such would not be allowed in Hamlet residential areas. That is not something for this board to make a determination on, but it is interesting reading material, and I intend to at least be zooming into the meeting on Monday night. Other than that,
I'd just like to update him on a couple of things I found out since. I talked to Doug Frost, who is the zoning and planning person for the town and village of Lake George, because there was some questions about whether any of the towns that we had the ordinances on actually did not allow them or didn't allow them in certain areas. And I had thought that the town of Lake George did have some regulations on that. So there was a discrepancy. I called Doug Frost and talked to him. He does both the town and the village. He is full-time, and he has a full-time person that works with him, and they do both the town and the village of Lake George. And both the town and the village regulate areas where where short-term rentals are allowed. In the town, they're not allowed in the strict residential areas. They are allowed in the quasi-commercial zones, and that includes lakefront. Now, that's the town of Lake George, not the village. In the village, they're only allowed in the commercial zones, which basically is the two streets wide through the village. Anything back beyond that, they're not allowed. And the ones that existed when they adopted the ordinance were grandfathered in, but if those properties are sold, they are not allowed to be used as short-term rentals again. And he said that the real estate agents know to call their office and ask whether it will be allowed in the future or not when they're selling a property. And they have a company that they have hired that monitors where these short-term rentals are in the town and the village. It's called, I'm not sure I've got it spelled correctly, but it's Quantus Host Compliance. And he told me that if they did not have that company working with them, he could not keep up with it and do the job of regulating them. So I just wanted to pass that much on, because I'm not sure exactly where the board is still going completely with this and what they're going to do.
No, I got a couple things that I do want to ask, and I'm sure that they didn't necessarily give out this information, but how much does the town or village of Lake George pay this company to go through Airbnb and VRBO? And sort of unrelated to that, after our last meeting, the workshop, I spent, I'm not going to lie, probably an hour and a half on my MacBook. And I went through all the short-term rental sites, and I went through everything that was in Lake Luzerne. And I found some that weren't even on the county paperwork that was provided to us. So I don't know how I want to say this. I think in all reality, one way that we need to go is like looking through those minutes today and everything too. We need the county to really help out with this, because it's so much.
I spoke to Mike Swan, the county treasurer, about it. I wanted to know how with the company that they had hired to find them. So I called him and I spoke with him, and he told me that the company that they hired, they still have them working with them at least through the end of September, and they're hoping to extend that contract through the end of next year. But they only look at the major sites. They don't, and new sites are popping up all the time.
Yeah.
But the way, so they go after the ones they find. If someone calls them, a neighbor that's got a complaint or questions or whatever, and they find out that there is one operating somewhere and they don't have it on their list, they send that property owner a letter. Hopefully they get a response. If they don't, they send a second letter. If they don't get a response, then they turn it over to the county attorney's office and they go after the property and try to find out what is going on. Are they using it for short-term rental, et cetera?
Okay.
So that's what they're doing. But this, from what I talked, when I talked with Doug Frost, the company that they're using, I think he said, it sounded to me from the discussion that we had that they are more in depth looking at these than the company that the county
Yeah.
got. And I had heard in our meeting that there appeared to be more than what were on the list. And I got that in with some of the planning board too. So
Okay.
I don't know how we're going to be able to address all of that. It appears as though from listening to the people that were in the short-term rental workshop that the planning board had, people from the public actually came to that. And some of them were short-term rental owners. And they also came to the last town board meeting and spoke as well. And it appears that they have to be an LLC for income tax purposes. So one way we can look at it is maybe go through our property list and send letters to anything that is LLC, because there's going to be properties out there
Yeah.
that are LLCs that are not short-term rentals, because people do LLCs for different reasons.
Absolutely. Apartments, things like that. I
Yeah,
mean,
or if more than one family member
Yeah.
owns a property, they
Yeah.
put it in an LLC. Sometimes if you're trying to protect your property for, as you're aging, the same thing gets done.
Mhm.
So there are reasons why it's done that are not always short-term rentals, but it's going to be a lot of work. I don't, I'm a little bit daunted by it at this point with what it may involve, because I'm a one-man band still. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And I don't know, I don't know what the town board is going to adopt for their final thing. I don't know whether they will talk about not allowing them in some areas. Doug Frost, when I talked to him, he really pushed that idea. He and the person that works for him actually do webinars on this short-term rental issue and he spoke in depth about the fact that if you don't regulate where they go, you're going to lose your residence base within the town. And so it even got me looking at it differently after talking to him and what they are doing. So I gave the information that I got from him to Councilman Niles and asked Councilman Niles to call him and talk to him. So it gave me a different perspective than what I had. And so I don't know what the board will do.
Mike, would you be willing to write up a short summary of your efforts in going over those maps and forward that to Jim Niles so he has that information for the workshop Monday night?
Yeah, I got no problem even coming to the workshop Monday night.
Thank you.
Like I said, I'm not gonna lie to you. I spent an hour and a half one night and I was able to go through the entire town map on Airbnb and VRBO. There was probably 10 properties that I just could not pinpoint where they were. So they could be registered, they could not be. But I will say that there was definitely 8 properties that were nowhere near the county's list. And that was a matter of a one-man band with 3 kids running around the house in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So like, it just raises the question, how much is the company charging Lake George? Because I would hate for this town to get into a contract where they're getting charged 5,000 a month when this time comes. And, you know,
That would be a good question
Yeah.
to ask Mr. Frost. if
Yeah.
Has he compared the list they have to the county's list?
yeah,
But I would think that they'd be turning them over. Okay,
I have a comment on new business.
Sure.
Kind of reflecting on this variance we're looking at tonight. I know Burgess and Mike are new. And I know I always kicked this around in the years past of doing these, especially front yard setbacks. The problem that we always have with these area setbacks is who knows where 30 feet is? I mean, I've
knows
said,
where
it-
what
I
is?
said it in the
From where?
past. I said it in the past that we should have part of the, if something's accepted, they have to provide from a licensed surveyor a plot where it is, because we can't expect Karen to know where the property line is and where's 30 feet. If there's something like this hypothetically passes, and it's always been the honor system on all these people, on all these setbacks. So something I think, and we've talked about it over the years, and it kind of always just fades away, and then it pops up again, we say, we gotta address it, and you know, it's just really tough, and something like this is quite substantial from 75 to 30.
And
And
it's,
And I'm not gonna be at next month's meetings.
oh, I know that, you said that.
So.
Not
I
only
have a
that,
million questions already about this, and
not only that,
Well,
but it's the setback distance is from the center line of the road.
Mhm.
So it's the garage is not 30 feet back from the property line. The
Oh.
garage is 30 feet back from the center line of the road. I was at the parcel yesterday. I drove up there to look at it,
Mhm.
and it is very close. If you look in your packet,
Mhm.
the picture that has the
The map with the plot on it.
no, it's the picture of the stone.
That's where he puts his trailer right now, right? There's a little landing at
Right,
the base of his driveway, and he puts his trailer
right. So
Yeah.
basically,
right there. Yeah.
that's pretty much where the garage would go.
Oh, right where the pile of rock is?
On the left.
No, this one. This is.
Oh, okay.
This is right over here. Okay, this is Gailey Hill Road. That's his driveway. He's got a pull-off area.
Yeah.
Right here,
Mhm.
okay? That. Stone retaining wall is more than 30 feet from the center line of Gailey Hill Road.
Mm.
It is. Very close to the property, to the.
And if he wants to use this to get his construction trailer, and that's gonna be a little bit of a hazard on Gailey Hill Road when he's stopping and trying to back this thing in.
You have to back it in. Yeah. that's-
yeah, you gotta think, because the
back up
topography,
trail
the
goes up.
curve that you go into, because his property is adjacent to Bonnie and Dan Glasheen's.
Right.
Theirs is
Okay.
straight up a mountain.
Yeah, I've been to Dan's house. It's-
Yeah.
Yeah, to go there.
Yep. But 30 feet off the center line is practically, like you said, on the road.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, how wide is the road? I'm not a construction guy, but there's a 4-foot shoulder.
14 foot generally on a road, 14 to 18, depending on.
For,
the shoulder.
it's a 2-lane road, so you have the minimum of 14 feet per lane, so hypothetically, the road should be 28 feet. So you get
14,
14 from the
then
middle,
16.
16 feet, yeah.
16 feet off.
So you're already halfway.
Snow's gonna hit it when they
Yeah.
plow. and
So he's
go.
only gonna be hypothetically less than 16, to face that garage, be less than 16 feet off the shoulder of the road, right?
Well, it's not hypothetically. I mean, that's what he shows us.
Yeah.
That's what he showed
Right.
in his application.
There are some,
And even
great-
that-
there's are quite a few houses that are right on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, they're-
Yes, there are.
And
But every single one of those was built before zoning was in that area. All the ones that are within the 75 feet.
or maybe they got approved by previous Boards.
Yeah, and I know this height thing, we always kick it around, which I think we were able to work on, it's kind of
Yeah.
ludicrous, but, so it's not too much with that, but there was lots of ways of, and I've done it, I've recessed garages into hills, like someone, a previous board member, Stanley Goldberg, his garage is too close to the road, and his foundation and garage is towed right back into the mountain. So there's lots of ways around it than just finding something that's really convenient.
When you go to the site,
But it's not gonna be 50 truckloads of dirt to dig out for that.
when you, if you go to the site.
I will.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. And please, I know you're not gonna be at the next meeting, but please forward your thoughts. to
Yeah,
me.
I'll forward notes, but I always talk to Karen too. I can always give her my thoughts or jot some things down.
I did not notice a lot of difference in the topography at the proposed location versus the topography anywhere else on the property, but.
Okay.
And should there,
But again,
sorry.
we really have to, not even at this, I mean, we really have to address something with these setbacks on this honor system because it's just an honor system.
Yeah, nobody goes up there and actually measures it, make
No,
sure it's
because-
30 feet.
Right. No. And Karen's got too much on her plate already. And you can't expect her to be out there by herself and trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Right.
And now 30, that's, so inches is a big deal now. It's not like it was 75, and you go for 73, okay. So you're off a little bit, but that's close.
And we're probably not debating it until the public hearing, but yeah, I have a less issue with the height than I do with that setback.
Yeah,
That's
we deal with that high all the time.
height all the time. I don't. With the setback. And should have been two different applications. So what if next month when somebody likes one but not the other?
Might have to split it.
Yeah, I'll approve the height, but not the setback per se.
Right.
And then that's a no. Should have been two, and not that you want to charge them.
Should we be doing two separate applications when there are two variances, or can they include them? on
It
one?
can be in one application. And the height can be approved, hypothetically, height can be approved, setback can be, declined. So you can split the two in terms of,
Voting purposes or
Decisions.
decision.
So if it's a point of dissension, should we be voting on two variances,
yeah, I would say,
split it up for the vote?
right. I would recommend that anyways, to have, the a vote on one with the rationale as to why you are or are not, and then going to the next one with kind of the same rationale and analysis. And so I don't think that necessarily having it on one piece of paper, or one application package is inappropriate. I think dealing with them in terms of the motion to either grant or deny, it shouldn't be a package deal.
So when we have this discussion next month, so Matt's gonna have to say, let's have a discussion and go through questions on the height first, and then motion,
Right.
and then reiterate, go all over again for the setback.
Right.
And just make it separate very clearly.
Yes.
There'll be two votes on it.
So remind me.
They
Not
won't
gonna
be
be
here.
here.
But we
Matt,
normally
don't-
do
And
separate.
I'm in the air,
them
so I hope we have
variances.
I hope we have a quorum. You might have a sport. I'm in the air for the Labor, it must be Labor Day, right?
No, it's Thursday. I
Right.
got
September.
September 8th, yeah.
But for some reason, my first might have went to my 8th. For some reason, I think.
Yeah, it's
Labor-
always the second Thursday.
Yeah.
Couple other items under the category of old and new business.
I mean, I possibly might be home by then. I'll get some more details because I'm
You
going
should-
away.
you should be
I'm
home.
going away Wednesday night, and coming back on Thursday.
You'll make it.
So I will let Karen know and Matt. But I have to just.
I'm thinking.
The town,
No, I'm going fishing.
That's the holiday, September 1st holiday.
September 1st.
That's September 1st.
September 1st.
September first is a Thursday,
And is that a holiday?
No.
no,
Okay.
but the fifth is
Monday.
Labor
It's Labor
Day.
Day.
Oh.
Monday is Labor Day.
Mhm.
School starts the day before.
the The town did hire a deputy zoning enforcement officer.
Oh, great.
An individual decided that they were not going to accept the position.
Mhm.
Or actually had accepted the position, but did not start the position, so. The town has not yet hired anyone else to fill that
Have they
position.
put any ads out for it or taking up?
I have not looked, Karen, are there ads out?
I
you know?
haven't looked, I didn't look today. I doubt it because we've had these computer issues going on. I doubt that it's been put out there. It was talked about at the town board meeting Monday night, but I don't know
Right.
that anyone has actually put it on.
As you can
the
see,
website
Karen is still
yet.
taking minutes because that deputy was supposed to be the individual taking minutes at our zoning board of appeals meeting,
Mhm.
so.
Well, there
They-
were 3 applicants.
Yeah, they've advertised and interviewed a couple months ago.
Yes, there were 3 applicants. Well, there were 2 applicants specifically for that job, and then they interviewed one of the other applicants that put in his application for the constable position. They interviewed him as well for the job, that if he didn't get the constable job, would he be interested in the zoning job? So they interviewed 3 people for the job.
The other item, and I will defer to Burgess on this one. Gotta stop talking to Mike, so.
I'm interested in applying for the constable position. I didn't know the town had one. I retire in 2 years.
The application now.
Yeah, can I get I don't get a badge, right?
I don't know.
Okay,
Very good.
I don't know.
I may.
I'm sorry. While I was out riding around and going up to Gailey Hill to check out this parcel, I did drive up Potash Road and I did see.
Don't go by my house.
No, but I did see that the
Yes,
location of the 2 accessory structures, that there is progress being made there.
correct. There's a foundation and it's set back into the hill and it looks like stuff is moving forward. The accessory structures haven't moved, but yes.
Right. Well, he said he wasn't gonna move the
No.
accessory structures. Is he, I'm just curious, out of curiosity, since you live up there, is he working there routinely?
Yeah. But he had, I don't know who the Mason, it was trucks that had Mason name on it, you know what I mean? A company on it. It wasn't a backyard guy.
No, that's his business.
Oh, he
Yeah,
owns it.
is-
Okay.
Yes, he has a Mason business.
Okay.
In Poughkeepsie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It wasn't a backyard guy like I thought he was doing it himself. I guess he owns a business.
He does own a business. That is true.
There's a lot of movement going on.
Good. So he may actually might meet the 1-year date.
We close. If he doesn't have a foundation in yet.
I think it's in foundation.
Foundation's in. Okay.
Yeah, it's recessed and pinned into the back of the grade. right now.
Wells in, foundations in. Yeah.
The well and septic roads have been there.
No, not the real one. The septic. Not the real.
That's the slide.
Not the real stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of work going on there. Just don't look at my house when you drive by.
I won't look at your, I don't know which house was yours.
Good.
I certainly wouldn't look it up on the tax. That would be wrong.
People are.
I have nothing additional. Does anyone else have anything? Motion to
No, thank you.
adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.